You're listening to the Screaming Pods Network.
The "no animals were harmed in the making of this film" disclaimer does not appear in the credits of this movie. Jamie?
Yeah.
Let's go watch Hot to Trot. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We are an 80s movie podcast, and every other week we watch a movie from the 80s, and then we talk about that movie. My name is Doug McCambridge. I'm one of your two hosts, and with me, as always, is Jamie Laurello.
Yes.
And I know that this is like a second birthday for you, isn't it?
It was a pretty nice treat. I'm not going to lie. I was excited about it. I didn't remember a lot of it, but I remembered enough.
Okay.
And
all right. I'd like to think that I'm actually just choosing certain movies to strike them off of your birthday list to make it tougher the next end of January when you have to choose a movie.
That's all right. I like the challenge. I'm up for it.
Yeah. So we watched a movie. Boy, we're just right into it, really.
I mean, what else do you need to introduce? Do you have any?
Oh, you know what, Jamie? We do, because we joined a podcast network.
We did.
We certainly did. And people who have been listening to this show for a while know that we actually joined one last spring.
That's right.
But that wasn't great because it was a bunch of podcasts that were very similar to ours, and I don't feel like that makes a good network. And not to crap on this network, but it doesn't exist anymore because it was a bunch of podcasts like us that didn't know what we were doing, that just banded together and were like, let's make a network, and it all fell apart relatively quickly. But now we've joined a network that is established, has podcasts on that have been around for quite a while, and they thought we would be a good addition to their network, and I'm super excited to be part of this network.
Me too.
And that's it. It's called the Screaming Pods Network. Go to their website. They just look it up, find it.
Screaming Pods.
It's great. So that's our home now, and hopefully it'll be our home for a long time.
Yay!
Now, let's talk about Hot to Trot. I don't even want to wait. I don't. There's no reason to wait. There's no reason.
You just want to jump right in.
To dance around this.
All right. Let's not. Let's no cantering here, man. I'll go right for it. So
great, laying down the lingo that you
see that I just learned.
You just learned it 30 seconds ago.
Do you believe? Because in the beginning of this movie, we get a couple of horse facts, right?
I think you're using the term facts quite loosely.
Do you think they're alternative facts, or do you think that they're...
Well, you know what? I have not picked up my Bible recently, so maybe God did create horses first, and then at the end of the list or whatever made man, or whatever John Candy says at the beginning of this. I'm not going to... You know what? Maybe it is a fact. Who am I? Who am I to say?
Well, we're led to believe that horses are indeed sort of superior, right?
Before I know I said I wanted to jump into this, but there are just a couple things I want to say. I know that you like this movie, or I know that you know this movie and that you watched it a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
And I have a couple experiences with this movie from when I was a kid, so I just thought I'd throw those out there.
Okay.
One's an interesting story in that my friend Dale Pellegrino came over.
Dale P.
We rented this movie.
Okay.
And for a while, my mom was really into making homemade bread. Like, you know, she had the bread maker and you dump all the stuff in.
Yeah.
So
smells great. Yeah.
Right. So we were eating this homemade bread with like jelly or whatever. And my sister was there. And this movie must have been so hilarious. My sister choked on the bread.
Oh my God.
My mom had to like give her the Heimlich. My dad's panicking and calling 911. Oh, it got that intense because of this movie. Yes.
Do you remember what scene? Do you have any?
It was very early on in the movie. I don't remember. I didn't even know what was going on until it was all over because she just kind of got up and ran out of the room when it happened. But yes, so that's
Oh my!
It's not a great memory, but like I know it was this movie that we were watching.
Wow.
And the other one, and I would love to hear from other listeners if they remember this, but in our local newspaper, when this movie was in theaters,
yeah,
along with the ad, there was a telephone number, just like an 800 number that you could call
to talk to the horse.
The horse would tell you a joke. Yes. And it was super fun for about 20 minutes once you went through like the 5 jokes and then they just played again. But that is, again, a weird, distinct memory that I have of this
I don't
movie.
remember that, but that's amazing. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, Don was crock full of jokes. I'm sure he can have a hotline to them.
I would love to know your opinion on this. One suggestion. If we could travel back in time and I could be in... I don't know if it's the casting director's office or something when they were putting this movie together and they had the cast in place. One suggestion I would make. Why is John Candy not the guy and Bobcat Goldthwait not the horse? Like, if you have that crazy-ass lunatic voice, why is that not the horse's voice? And I want to see John Candy ride this horse at the end. It would make it so much funnier.
Yeah. If you had,
I don't know. It just seems to me that something happened where maybe that was the initial idea. And John Candy was like, "I'm not going to be on screen for this movie."
I'm just. Well, I read something about Joan Rivers was supposed to originally play.
I read that too.
Did you? And that would have been. And then I read that they had rewrote the script because it wasn't going to work, and they gave it to John Candy. He improvised most of his lines. For the horse. So he didn't even go by the new script. He was like, nah, I got this. And he which I can sort of see John Candy doing. And maybe that's why he was like, I really want to use my improvising skills.
I would question, do you really got this, John? Do you really got this?
I wonder, like, I tried to remember, was Bobcat, I mean, I don't think Bobcat Goldthwait was ever, like, hot, right? He was okay. He should not
goofy. Anchor a movie. Like, he should not be the lead in your movie.
Well,
regardless of what it is, to be honest.
Back in the day when I watched it, he was exactly why I was watching the movie. Well, and I enjoyed John Candy, but I loved how goofy. I loved that his name was Bobcat, first of all. But I think he's maybe billed as Bob.
Oh no, it's Bob.
Yeah.
It is Bob Goldthwait.
Yeah. It's a little more professional.
I don't know why he just didn't go with Robert. Like, just go all in. As Charlie Sheen was called Charles Sheen for a couple of films in the early 2000s.
Because, classing it up. It's interesting that he, and at the end when I also wonder, because Gilbert Gottfried has that similar kind of a voice.
What?
So who did they battle it out for the role, and Godfrey got the dentist? Or, I mean, I'm glad, like I said, I enjoyed Bob in his role as Fred.
Or why not just have both of them? Why not have these two comedians with aggravating, bizarre voices dueling throughout just throw John Candy out. Listen, I love John Candy. He's great. But I don't know. If I could get Gilbert Gottfried as the horse and Bobcat Goldthwait,
how annoying would that be? But how annoying would that be? It's so fun to have, like, the horse's personality is totally John Candy. How hilarious is it when that horse sits? Like, when it sits on the couch, like it's...
That's crazy. That is crazy. But I don't think this horse's personality is John Candy. This horse is depressed. He's sad. He's always lonely. Like, I thought that this horse should be like a big fat party animal. Like, just like, instead of drinking tab, he's drinking beer all the time and having a great time. But he's always depressed and he's lonely. And I'm like, that's Bobcat Goldthwait. Like, that voice lends to depression and anxiety.
Sure.
I don't know. I felt like John Candy would be better in a suit. He'd be better at that role.
I do like what you're saying there. And it kind of gives him that that Chris Farley quality, like where he is kind of the no good, try to be
right. And I don't want to put words in Virginia Madsen's mouth, But if
Oh, yeah?
Bobcat Goldthwait and John Candy are next to each other, I think you might go the route of Candy.
You think?
Yes.
You think?
I think. I mean, Bobcat Goldthwait, the normal human being who can talk like a sensible person, he's fine. But this character is crazy. He can't even say linguine at one point. I don't even know how he ordered that at the restaurant.
My linguine is very good. I think I said this before, I used to repeat several lines from this movie, and I tried to mark them when they came up.
I can't wait.
And it drove my mother absolutely insane for a summer. She was like, you can't watch that movie anymore. I think the movie was banned from me being able to watch it.
I can see that.
But like I said, there was definitely, as many times as I watched it, there was definitely some things that were hazy, but not all of it, not enough.
Right. Well, let's get into it then. Let's go through this movie. There are many questions.
Okay. As they come up, we'll cover them. We'll try to get to the bottom of them. I hope you're not eating any fresh bread because I don't want anybody to choke. You're good?
Listeners, spit out all the bread that you're jamming in your face right now.
Right. Because we don't want to have any, we don't want to relive anything like that.
Mm-mm.
Well, the movie's clearly about horses because we open up at a horse stable, right?
Yeah.
And a limousine pulls up to these two rich people who we find out are Walter and Cindy. Is Cindy her name? The floozy that he's...
Oh, you know who she is? She's Ferris Bueller's mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she looked familiar. I had to look it up because I was like, who is this actress? I've seen her before. Yeah.
So Dabney Coleman and Ferris Bueller's mom, who is Walter, show up at this stable to basically go have sex in a horse stall.
What is
Right?
this?
See, again, I didn't remember this part because as a kid, I don't think I looked at it like that.
No, he converted part of this barn into like a
sex stall,
sex room.
Yeah, because he's not the only one that uses it.
No,
Later
but he
on,
has little pictures are hanging on the wall. It's decorated like a little kid's bedroom, kind of.
And it is weird. It is.
It must smell like shit. It must smell terrible.
Doesn't she say something about the hay instead of a bed or something?
There are bales of hay, and he just has a blanket laid down on top of it. But I love how she's like, first in your office, and then we have to go to that hotel, and now this. I'm like, you cannot compare this to a hotel.
It is weird that this room is like right next to Don's stall. So,
there's a window where the horse can watch them.
And he is, because that's what he would do, right? Oh, so P.S. Walter is the stepdad to Fred. And Fred P. Cheney, his mom just died. So his wife they just left the funeral. And then they came to the stalls to have sex.
One of my favorite parts of this movie is when Bobcat Goldthwait forgets his own name near the end.
Oh,
when
yeah.
he's doing that impassioned speech. And he's like, Freddie, what's my name again? And I'm like, was that... Did he forget the character's name? They just left it in the movie.
It's very possible. And they were just like, we're just going to go with it. We're tired of shooting this. We're over it. It had to be a lot of work. Like, how trained do you think that horse was? I wondered how it got its mouth to do certain things. And when it fakes laying on the garage floor.
Oh, I was kind of sad then. Because I'm like, I've never seen a horse just laying down like that. I don't think that horse is well.
But it's trained, I guess, to
and then it
later
gets
on with
up
his dad.
awkwardly off the floor. And then, yeah, you're right. The dad horse is dying. And so that horse is also laying down. I guess you can train a horse to that, but it looked so unnatural.
Yeah.
The horse sitting on the couch looked more natural than it lying down in a parking
I love
garage.
The horse sitting on the couch. I agree. Fred P. Cheney catches his stepdad having this lewd affair.
I think it's also important to know that this is a couple hours before his wife's funeral. This is happening. Yeah. And then later on, she's in the house. I'm like, you couldn't just wait until right after the funeral and then just go to the house and have this lady just move in. But I get it. It's a comedy. It's hilarious. They're having sex
she
in
kicks her right out of the house.
Right.
The step-girlfriend, I guess you could call her, moves right in and hands him his clothes and his bags. And his mom must have been some sort of broker of some kind?
I don't know.
It's just a business. It's a trading.
It's a
stock marketing business. Yeah, I
Then
don't think we're meant to
at some point,
understand
I guess
it.
they could just say, you know what? You take half the business, and I'll take half, and we'll run this separately. I don't know that you can do that.
He was willed half the business and the horse from his mom.
Yes.
And I love the offer that Walter makes him. He's like, I'm going to make you, with those giant teeth, he's like, I'm going to make you an offer. I want you to consider, he writes down a number on a piece of paper, $500 crossed out, $525.
I love that it's crossed out, too. I just love that little touch. And I think, the way I saw it, and maybe you didn't see it this way, and I know I went on about the casting, Dabney Coleman is holding this movie together for dear life throughout it. Anytime he was on screen, he was really great. Like, I thought he could have just mailed this in, just been like, I'm Dabney Coleman. I should not be doing this. Sure. But I really felt like he was invested in
He was committed.
Giving it his all. Yes.
Yeah, I agree to that. He does a fine job indeed. And he's like the bad guy.
Right.
Who's his little partner in crime there, that assistant guy.
Don't know who that guy is.
Yeah. Me neither. Did you notice, too, I don't know if it's Bob's or Fred's body type or just maybe the clothes he put him in. Didn't he often look really awkward, like in his vest, and then he's got some plaid shirt and jeans?
Everything was always tucked in, and everything always had buttons, and it was always buttoned all the way up to the top button.
Yeah.
It was weird. And even just the patterns he was wearing.
Yeah.
Like, he's wearing a red shirt once with, like, I don't know, it looked like a tablecloth or something. It didn't look like a...
Well, that's when he was at the stable, I guess, to make him look more like a country kid, the country guy. But he just looks awkward in most of the clothes they put him in.
It was kind of refreshing to see him in suit. Like, when he was in a suit, I was like, okay, this looks rational.
The jockey outfit is my favorite. But
the jockey outfit, and he gets on that scale and he's 185 pounds. I know that's a joke, but I don't think he's that heavy. I know the joke is he's the biggest jockey there, but when they're all walking out, I had a hard time finding him because he's not that much taller.
Yeah, I agree. He's a little guy.
Again, put John Candy on that horse. I'd love it.
Whole different movie there, but whole different movie. So I guess he never really met Don the horse, even though it's his family horse. Like, his dad kind of rescued this horse. So he goes to this.
And what dad doesn't tell his kid
about the talking horse? Exactly. Wouldn't that be something you'd expose? Like, even in the teen years when you don't think your dad's so cool anymore? Or did dad die? Did they say when or how the dad died? I don't know that they do.
I'm pretty sure this horse killed a hobo, though. I think we know
we have
that.
to get into that. Wait, okay. So he gets to the stall. He meets Don, and right away, of course, Don is talking, and he kind of freaks out about it. I like when he tries to muffle him. He tries to cover his mouth, and Don is still talking with a muffled voice.
And that's the other puzzling
clever
thing about this. This horse has no issue with letting people know he talks. This horse talks to everyone throughout this entire movie.
And sometimes you don't know, is this an inner monologue or is this something he's really saying out loud? Right?
Yeah, I kind of had, especially when he's on the other side of a door, I'm like, is he talking? Like,
there's some.
Can everybody hear him?
Right. Or when he's trying to pick up on the other horse and he trots over to it and he's like, well, hey, so nobody else can hear that this horse is like hitting on this other horse, so we can hear that. But yeah, you're right. At times they're a little.
He talks to everyone, which again makes me think, like, how long has he been in this barn and he didn't talk to that nice Hispanic guy who seemed to be cleaning up? Like, why not make friends with that guy? He seemed pretty cool.
He does tell his story to Fred of the story of Don, how he ran away from home and he met with a black blind blues singer named Giddy. I think Giddy was the black blind blues singer's name.
I don't know.
And I like in what they're on the train together, and Giddy, of course, is singing along with his guitar, and Don has a harmonica. Did you notice that? Like, there's a harmonica.
Yes. Yep.
And you're right that Giddy died when he fell off the train, I guess, because he was dancing too close to the edge of the train.
Yeah, he's like, he always balanced on the edge of the train. He was so skillful, or whatever the horse says. And he's like, and then he fell out once and he died. And I'm like, what? And he also says that he tricked this poor blind hobo into thinking
he was
an Italian guy from the Bronx or something. Like, why? Why would you do that?
But then there's a scene where the blind guy is petting him, and he realizes, like, wait a minute, you're.
Yeah, the guy like is petting him, and John Candy in a terrible Italian accent is like, and that's a spicy meatball. And I'm like, what? What was this relationship?
Well, that was after that. Apparently, he met the dad, right? Fred's dad.
Yeah, they sing some Elvis songs in the car in the trailer. That now Fred is driving this trailer with the horse in it after he got kicked out of the house. Like, all he has is this horse and half the company.
Right. Well, then the trailer isn't really like a traditional horse trailer. The trailer just allows Don to be an actual passenger in the big van,
it looks like a hollowed out camper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like it's like a tiny Winnebago where the horse is just standing. Like he just sort of has his run of the place.
Yeah. I like that there's definite car scenes with Don, because there's later on when Virginia Madsen drives him around in the same van. So the road trip is to go meet Don's family, right?
Why? Right? The horse didn't say something like, let's go meet my family, right? Because I didn't know where they were going.
I think it's part of because he's telling him the story of himself. And part of the story of himself is, now you can see where I've come from. And I think what we're meant to believe is, in Fred's mind, well, that's where I'll bring him back to, is his family.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do these horses own a cabin? Right? Like,
it would appear that way. Yes.
It's a cabin.
Yeah.
It's like a parallel dimension where horses just own homes. They can own property.
Yep.
They have a little fence with cabbage growing in it, like a little
sweet
garden.
Mm-hmm. She looks like she's got another area. The horse mom looks like she's got her own little kitchen area. Brother, he's got a brother named Lou. Who appears to be a little slow, just likes to watch the Three Stooges and do a little...
He watches the Three Stooges outside and always talks like Curly.
Yeah.
And it comes... every time we see this horse, he talks like Curly. It's just the joke that won't stop.
Oh. But that's all. He doesn't have the gift of gab. Neither does the mom horse.
Well, he does. He just talks like a character from a TV show.
He can't engage.
He's not smart. He's slow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. At one point, I think they said he goes outside to hump a Volvo. That's why he's not going to have children.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they don't trust him to breed.
Right.
The mom does not speak, but she does understand. And the burning question she has is, what is it like to face someone during sex? Because that's something a horse wants to know.
Is this a kid's movie, Jamie? Because already watched Dabney Coleman convert a barn into a sex shack.
And now horses are asking.
There's a lot of sex jokes.
Yeah.
There aren't as many horse dick jokes as I thought there would be in this movie.
Right.
I was so ready for that, but there's just one when that weird crazy lady comes up and thinks that he's a statue.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole weird... The anchovy lady?
She's underneath him, looking up and going, oh... This is so
realistic,
correct, or whatever she says. Yeah. That was weird.
That whole thing is bizarre. Yeah, I don't know why we needed.
It was
that
like
at
I was
all.
in a different movie for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's the seventh floor. It's what happened. Oh, Don's dad can talk too. He's got the. Is it Mickey? Is it the Rocky's coach, Mickey? Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, it's Burgess Meredith just doing his Rocky bits. He gives. All he does is basically give 2 pep talks in this movie.
Well, one is a horse and one is a horsefly.
Right. That horsefly is scary. That was quite terrifying.
That was interesting. Oh.
It looked so gross. I was just watching this going, ugh. But in a weird way, it was... Like, the puppet was really good. I know that just the head and the mouth moved, but I was kind of impressed with how odd and really... Like, it looked like something out of Labyrinth. Like, that should have been in Labyrinth. It should not have been in this movie.
Oh, it made it in.
It did. Like, just have a long shot of a fly. We don't need to see its mouth.
No, you didn't need to see the whole animated. No, you didn't. But you got that pleasure because...
We got it.
Yeah. Because a conversation with his dad is going to be up close and personal. But that's not till later when he comes back reincarnated.
Right.
So Fred leaves Don with his parents thinking this is where he wanted to be. And Don is not happy about this. But Fred's got to go to work, basically.
Well, Don, I think it's important to say that Don, the horse, is the one that convinces Fred to keep half
that's
the
true.
company.
That's true.
Not to accept the $525, as I think he was about to do.
Well, he doesn't know. I don't think he himself is very smart. He doesn't know what else to do. He's kind of sad, overwhelmed.
Right.
So he decides to go back and split the company. We're partners, is what he says. If you need me, just give a hoot. That was a bad one. I can't do that one. That one is good.
It's okay. Listen, you keep going.
Keep
going.
That's what you had to do. That's why I had to keep doing it all summer long. My mother didn't understand. The more you did it, the better you got. Like, if you need me, just give a hoot. Like, because he's...
You're like, Mom, I'm just workshopping this. Come on.
Jesus Christ, of all the characters.
It's a lot like my Sean Connery in Highlander. It didn't work at first, but I kept at it.
You were persistent. That's what's going to take us there.
We often talk about, or we have in the past talked about monologues, like going in as an actor or an actress for an audition, doing a monologue. I would love it if somebody came in and did something that Bobcat Goldthwait did in this movie. It would be so...
Did he have any real long...
His eyebrow acting throughout this entire movie is insane. But every time it happened, I was like, he's just acting opposite horses. Like, most of his scenes are just him...
With the horse?
With an animal.
Yeah.
Like, that is it.
No, it's true.
If he's not talking to Dabney Coleman or... out to dinner one time with Virginia Madsen, he's just hanging out with horses and animals, and he has to do what he can to make those scenes work.
Well, it's part of him too, is those faces, like.
Oh yeah, because it's so great. Because you watch the movie and you're like, oh, it's John Candy interacting with Bobcat Goldthwait, and it doesn't take you long to realize, no, this is just some girl off camera reading these lines that he then has to react to in the most bizarre way possible. They do split the office. They literally, like, physically split the conference room.
They paint it. Half the table gets painted white while the other half stays brown.
He gets a receptionist. I wish I knew more about this receptionist.
Oh, when she's the one that offers him the sandwiches later?
Yeah, sandwiches, and lets him in the window, and she comes running in every now and then. Because I thought it was going to be that Virginia Madsen was then his receptionist. But she's not. Like, she's still working for Dabney Coleman.
Right.
And I don't even know if this receptionist has a name.
I don't think we ever find out her name.
Yeah.
No, maybe. No, I don't think so. But he gets his own little office area, and he kind of doesn't know what to do with himself. He never knows. He's at work all the time, either sleeping or just like dancing.
Especially when Dabney Coleman comes in to talk to him the first day, and he's like, and he just dials a random number on the phone. He's like, I'm really busy right now. I'm doing a lot of work stuff. And he's like taking a thermos and an apple out of his lunch bag. And there are points in this movie where I said the horse is very sad, where Don the horse keeps calling him and is like, when are you coming home? And he's like, I'm at work really late, but he's just sitting
I know, you don't know what
in front
he's
of
really
a green
on.
monitor.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't, It's like how George Costanza works most of the time.
True.
In Seinfeld. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. He just goes in and sits around,
right.
I think, most of the day.
It's funny, too, because when Don asked him to take the day off, he's like, no, I got to get in. And like you said, to do what exactly? And he doesn't know what he's doing until Don somehow. So another, I guess, some sort of...
That's his sleazy buddy.
Is that a sleazy buddy?
That's like that's like Dabney Coleman's number 2. Using his sex barn.
And was calling in to someone, right? Tries to call in to someone about, right? He makes a phone call about
It's a whole weird, contrived bit of nonsense.
Because he leaves the girl that he's having sex with to make this special call.
To make a call to talk about
a call that he should make.
Stock that they should buy.
Yeah.
But he then doesn't call the guy to buy it. Like,
No.
It's really strange. It doesn't make any sense, but it's just there so that Don overhears.
And then what's even stranger is somehow Don, I guess with his teeth, can dial a phone. And
he's calling all the time. He's using the phone twice a day in this movie.
Yeah, he's got it down pat. So he calls and kind of gives the hot tip to Fred about this company, this deal that he should make. And Fred doesn't even hesitate. He makes the deal, and he's like made the company like it's awesome. He's just made, I guess, a shit ton of money for the company.
Right.
He dances on the desk. He throws himself a little party. He's super excited. He could buy fancy suits now, and this is one of my favorite parts that I did remember. He can get himself a new apartment.
Oh, this apartment is pretty amazing.
His reaction when he opened the door to the apartment, too, he's blown away.
This apartment, I guess it comes fully furnished.
Yep.
Because there's a grand piano there.
Well, she didn't want to not leave the grand piano. She thought it was nice. The realtor, I guess, that was giving him the tour.
The realtor puts pianos in these apartments?
I don't know. Maybe she's the apartment manager. I don't know who she is.
Okay. All right.
It's a very white apartment. Very fancy.
Yeah, it's very 80s. It's very clean. It's very sleek. It's very open. It's like any apartment you'd see in Wall Street.
Right.
Or,
aside
it does
from
have an
the atrium,
it does have an atrium.
A disco for ferns. There's a light that goes on in the atrium, and like waterfalls and like rainforest sounds come out.
Yeah,
and it's
but
weird.
It's two disco lights.
Yeah.
Like the lights are it's like red and green and blue lights flashing while you hear rainforest sounds.
Yeah.
And like a Greek statue vomits water.
Yeah, it's a bit jarring.
Water just flying out of that guy's mouth, and it is.
And is the atrium? It's so large that I think it extends out into the hallway. Like it's a pretty big atrium, isn't it?
Until the animals broke in, I didn't know if you could get in it or not. I wasn't sure if that was a door or if it was just a glass front.
I guess you could get in it because the animals break the statue, don't they?
Well, yeah, but I think they just busted. Like, I think they just broke through the. I don't know. Maybe you can. Yeah, how do you take care of the plants? If
you have to, right?
Right. Here's one of the biggest questions I have. The realtor, he says, "I'll take it," and the realtor, whoever, just turns around and leaves. Like,
yeah,
I guess
she just hands him the
it's
keys.
his place immediately. Right. He walks over to the piano, and he plays a couple of keys, and is like, oh, and she's outside and seems to be very distressed by this. And immediately we hear Little Richard singing.
Yeah.
But then we see him playing the piano and lip syncing, and the realtor seems very surprised. So are we meant to believe that he can play the piano and sing like this? She is shocked. Like, she gets on the elevator and she's like, oh, and as the door closes, she's like, oh, and so surprised by all of this. And I was like, is this him singing?
Yeah, I think we're meant to believe that when he gets this apartment.
It's just one of those weird things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like the horse can talk, when he is in the right mood, he is wap-ba-ba-loo-bop-a-lop-bam-boom.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
I think it's Great Balls of Fire, actually, he does at the piano.
No, it's Tutti Frutti.
And then it's
You're
Tutti
right.
Frutti in the car. Because he sings again in the car when he's driving.
No, they use that song. They use that
twice?
song twice.
Okay.
Yeah, they use it twice.
I want to know.
They paid. The music is crazy. Why are the Beastie Boys in this movie?
Yeah, well, when the animals party, I guess that's. And Danny Elfman, it said, did the musical score. Did you see that?
Yes. Yes, exactly. And the Beastie Boys thing shocked me because they are like notoriously like, they don't put their names on stuff and they don't license their music. But, you know, this is very early on in their musical.
And it was John Candy. Baby.
I assume this is the reason why they don't do that anymore. They're like, what? What are we signing?
What happened?
What movie is this?
Yeah.
I don't care. Give us the check. And then they start like, holy shit. We can't
We
do
really
this
got to
anymore.
watch what we release our music onto.
Right. So at this point, he gets his car and everything's going great. He takes his disgusting long hair and pulls it back into like a corporate ponytail.
Yeah, yeah.
But I loved the scene, and this made me laugh out loud, when Virginia Madsen pops into his office and is like, hey, how's it going and everything. And then she leaves. As he awkwardly asks her to dinner, this large black maintenance man walks in, and I really did laugh at that part.
What does he say to him, too? He's like, oh.
I don't know. He's like, oh, and then he takes something. He's like, that's mine. And he just takes whatever he has in his hand.
But that is funny when he accidentally asked him out. Okay, last time we saw Don, last time Fred saw Don, he left him at his parents', right?
Right.
Then somehow Don got back to the stables because he was able to make the call and give the hot tip. And then Don's just wandering the streets.
Wandering the streets.
And
it's a weird shot because it's like a low angle and you just see like telephone poles and like buildings in the background.
Right.
Like, this horse is just walking around the city.
Just having a moment with his thoughts and himself. And he sees a news article, because I guess in the paper they wrote up a little article about Fred and how he's just made some money for his company. And he's a little bitter because he's the one that gave him the hot tip. So this is when Don decides to fake being sick again, somehow he travels to the apartment building that Fred lives in, and he's laying on the ground in the apartment building. Kind of alarming, like you said, to see the horse laying like that.
Again, they get this horse to lie down in a parking garage behind a dumpster, and nothing about that seems ethical or safe, or just like everything about this scene I just felt sad. Like, I felt so sad.
Well, that was good
this.
Because that's how Don wants Fred to feel.
You know what? You're right. They got me. The director, whatever his name, I think his name's Dinner. He got me.
So they're tugging on your heartstrings so that you want to bring Don up to your apartment, which Fred does. He goes in a padded elevator. Don's very excited to be on a padded elevator for the first time. So for some reason, maybe because
Jamie, is that a thing? A padded elevator? I don't think I've ever been in a padded elevator, but maybe that just means I'm not living the good life.
I think maybe that's what you're missing here. Did you ever see an atrium like that in your apartment?
No. Of course not. No, but it literally looked like somebody just put some like mattresses up against the walls of this. Like, it looked like it was peeling and falling down.
Maybe it's the freight elevator. But Don was excited. Somehow he fit in the elevator. Gets upstairs. Did you notice that? So Don's tail is all like matted and messed up, and I guess maybe from driving in his convertible. Fred's hair is all crazy and messed up when they go into the apartment. Did you notice that? I
noticed it when he was in his car and he pulled up to a guy in the same car and he looked over and I was like, he looks crazy. I know that's what we're supposed to think, but his ponytail, like, his hair's so blown out that there's just like a tiny bit left in that ponytail, and the rest is just wild.
It's just chaos. Who's the weird neighbor? He's got this weird nosy neighbor.
I don't know. Is that guy wearing a wig? What is up with his hair? I don't know.
He's a crazy look. And what is he holding? He's holding like this pot with like chicken or corn in it. It looks. First, I thought it was like little like cadavers, like little tiny, like, I don't know what. They look like something you would dissect. I don't know. But then when you look closer,
little cadavers?
I did say that. I actually said cadavers.
Oh, cadavers. Okay. Well, maybe they were cadavers because I don't know what that is. But...
No, I think it was like chicken and corn. He's got this weird pot of stuff that he's carrying with him.
Yeah, because this guy's like, man. He's like, no pets allowed. And I don't know. This guy pops back up one other time in this movie. A lot of the people that just...
The apartment people.
Yeah, like the apartment people are kind of one and done.
And I'm not sad about it.
Right. And he seems, everybody in this apartment, I think, should probably have an issue with this horse if they saw the horse.
Right.
Except the cleaning lady doesn't really seem bothered that much.
She is at first. She's like, I can't do this. This is a horse.
Right.
I can't.
But she doesn't freak out the way everybody else does at this horse. She's like, I can't do this. This is crazy. Next scene, she's like, excuse me, Mr. Horse, I'm vacuuming right now.
My favorite is when the horse gets a package, but that's later. All right. So they
Yeah, who sent that to the horse?
he orders it himself because he's so savvy.
He did?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
So once they're in the apartment, they bond, they drink tab sodas. I like that. I don't know if it's this scene or later on where Don has like this super straw that he drinks out of. But this is when he sits all goofy on the couch and they talk about embarrassing drunk moments and Don's been married before. He talks about his marriage.
This horse has led a life.
They watch movies together. They have a great time till essentially they pass out.
Right.
And you're right. Don's like a needy housewife. He wants Fred to stay home.
He's constantly calling him like, hey, buddy, what are you doing when you get home? When are you coming home? I'm really bored here. At one point, he's out on the balcony. He's like, I'm just going to jump. Well,
that's when he gets the attention of the other animals. So,
No, exactly. But still, like, that is a weird, like, that's a needy
That's an
horse.
extreme way to go. Yeah, but maybe, like, again, at the stall or the barn, wherever he stayed before it, maybe he was a little more free to roam, and now he's in this apartment where he can't really easily get in the elevator and isn't supposed to leave, I guess, without... He's a little more restricted, right?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
But he did somehow hear about the party on the 7th floor, and that's why Elsie's calling Don at work, like, we should hit up that party. And
his plan is you, an insane human being, and me, a horse, should just show up to a party on the 7th floor.
And it'll go totally smooth. You just wait and see. I need something to do.
And I love how Fred just ditches him and goes to this party.
He just goes.
On his own.
He's on the elevator. He looks. He's like, 7th floor. All right.
Yeah.
It's a weird party.
Oh.
And as soon as he gets off the elevator, some crazy lady grabs him and is just like, single man.
This lady is like those old Looney Tunes characters where she's like, oh, man! And just like, grabs him. She eats anchovies? She wanders around with this big bowl of anchovy dip, I guess.
I don't know. She eats anchovies and then she follows. How does she get... She follows him basically back to his apartment.
She walks him back to his apartment,
Yeah, and forces herself in because he's like, no, thanks, I'm good.
Yeah,
and she comes in and she freaks out because, again, like you said, she's kind of inspecting the horse and thinks that it's...
a statue or a stuffed horse. I don't even know what she thinks because it's moving. As she is looking at the horse is moving and talking to her.
Well, when it finally does talk at her, that's when she freaks out and she screams and she leaves.
Just runs out, and we never see this character again.
And he's appreciative. Fred's like, thank you so much for helping me with that lunatic woman. And he was like, she seemed all right. I mean,
he's probably looking at Bobcat Goldthwait, and he's like, you know what? You two might make a pretty good couple.
Yeah.
To be
crazy.
honest.
She's crazy. Just get into eating these sardines. Oh, this is then when Don is looking at his teeth in the mirror. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh,
They're having a little moment where Don is complaining about his teeth. And Fred's like, they're fine. Maybe you need to use a water pick every now and then.
Oh, yeah, okay. I remember that line. But I kind of zoned out, I guess, at this point because... I didn't know he talked about the teeth until he was talking to the female horse.
Yeah, well, then he's ultra,
right.
yeah. But no, he brings it up once before. Now, back at the office, they don't know. I guess Don gives him other tips, too. Like, maybe that wasn't the only one. Because he's doing really well at work, Fred.
Right. I would like to see other tips that this horse, who's not allowed out of this apartment, is giving him. Because I understand the first one, he overheard something, but...
Right.
He is making more decisions that are making him more successful, but we don't really get any insight as to what's happening.
We don't know what those are.
Right.
But Walter is getting more curious, so he sends Virginia Madsen's character to sort of be a spy and find out, like, go have dinner with him to find out, like, how's he getting his information? What's his source, right?
Which, again, doesn't come to anything. Like, this type of movie would have a scene where Bobcat Goldthwait's like, you were just using me. You were sent to spy on me. You don't really have any feelings for me. You're just Dabney Coleman's lackey. Like,
Right.
that does not happen.
Well, she does quit, though, at a certain point when she
Well, right,
realizes
yes.
that it was that they set him up later when they lock him in the bathroom. That's when she quit.
I
So
like
maybe,
how they
and
walk
again,
into the bathroom and they're like, oh, so I cut the phone lines. And then the phone rings and the horse is on the other
yeah,
end.
I thought that was weird. So he's in the bathroom and he can get a call from the horse, but he can't make any calls to get anybody to help him out of the bathroom.
Because as he's talking to the horse, he's like, you're cutting out. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
They're like cutting the lines while they're talking. He
Just
already
in
said he
time
did
for
that.
him to know the oats are bad. Just in
Right.
time for him to know the oats are bad.
And the diarrhea that horse must have in that apartment. This whole movie, like, I had a lot of problems with that. I was like, you can't keep a horse in an apartment. It's just going to crap everywhere.
Well, and he does say something about that. Like, hey, it's a new apartment.
He does walk it like a dog at one
Oh,
point.
yeah.
I enjoyed watching that.
And he tells him he's going to need a bigger pooper scooper. Well,
Yep.
my first concern is
Uh-huh.
when Virginia Madsen comes to the apartment, there's Don's behind like some kind of screen, right? They like kind of he's kind of hidden away in the kitchen where she's not allowed to go. She doesn't seem. P.S. She also doesn't seem that impressed with his apartment when he's like, what do you think? She's like, maybe I could see the
Right.
kitchen.
Jamie, she just wants a nice down-to-earth guy.
She
She's not
does.
impressed with all this.
You got her number.
Her
You know.
reaction is great because this is the point in the movie where I was like, oh, maybe Virginia Madsen's character is not that smart. Because she hears a sneeze from the other room, and then she hears somebody say, oh no, and then woof woof, and she goes, oh, you have a dog. Like, that was a human sneeze, and then the person said, oh no, and you think that's a dog?
She don't know. She's overwhelmed. She just saw the atrium for the first
Yeah.
time. It'll overwhelm you.
And immediately he tells her the truth. He's like, oh, this is my, when they're out to dinner, he's like, oh, yeah, that horse, he gives me stock tips.
Yeah, he kind of confesses it to her.
After he can't say linguine.
My linguinus is very good. All the time.
And
That
she's
was the
like,
line. I say all
it's
the
called linguine. He's like, it just tastes a lot like spaghetti.
time. Good job.
I mean, he's probably like 3 films deep into Police Academy. He's already through stand-up established this character. Like, I remember, and I was probably in my early 30s, the first time I ever heard him speak normally.
Without that, I know. I agree.
I was shocked. I was like,
Yeah.
what? That's
not just his normal voice. I thought he was, yeah. Mm-hmm. After telling her at dinner that this horse talks to him, takes her back to the apartment, hoping the horse will talk to her, and he refuses. And now Fred's totally embarrassed, and he looks even crazier. And then you're right. They go back, because did they get the call that the dad is dying? Somehow he finds out that the horse,
I
Don.
don't think there's a call or suddenly they're in that car again, and I'm like, where are they going? But they're heading there because his dad is dying.
His balls are shrinking, his eyes are watering, his memory's going, and his tongue is getting dark. He's dying, right? That's some of the things he tells him are signs of death.
Yes, I thought it was both sad and funny when the mother horse was crying. Like there was a tear running down her horse face. Also, did you notice that when the father horse died...
When the bucket...
we got a sound of somebody kicking a bucket.
Yes, and I loved it. The father's dying wish, though, is that Don have kids, because Don should share his gift of being able to talk, and he should read and find a nice woman. He's a bum, but he's got a big mouth, and he needs to share that.
And again, how is that not how this movie ends? A little tiny, what do you call a baby horse? A foal. A little foal walks out and is like, "Hey, Dad," or something like that. Like, that is a great way to end this.
Yeah.
Oh, you could find a place for Gilbert Gottfried. Maybe he's the voice of the baby horse.
Yeah, there you go. I like what you're doing here. I do. I really do. Frustration. Didn't quite go your way.
I'm very frustrated by the casting decisions
and the ending, and I don't disagree, but
that ending is
you're
insane.
impassioned.
The horse literally goes, "Ba-dip. That's all, folks," and the movie ends.
Well, I think by that time they were all like, "Can we just stop this madness? Stop this train." Just end it. Sure, we can add another lovely scene where we have to get a baby horse and have it wander out to this horse, but let's just say goodnight.
Oh my God, could you imagine the end of that movie if that was the case? And then like Bobcat Goldthwait and Virginia Madsen get out of the car and like a little kid with like a terrible mullet gets out. Like, that would be such a great ending to
That's
this
what you
movie.
wanted to see. That's what you wanted
yeah.
to see. Yeah, you didn't get that. Well, we're almost to the end, the less enthusiastic ending. So after this advice he gets from his dad about settling down, he does meet a horse that he's va-va-va-voom, that he kind of falls for. This Satin Doll is her name. She is unfortunately owned by the step-girlfriend, Walter's girlfriend.
Did you hear?
The florist shop? Are you going to say that?
Oh, no. I was going to say, when they're there, before he meets the girlfriend, did you hear John Candy as the horse mutter the F word? And not fuck, but the homophobic slur?
No. I did not.
Yes, it is
really?
So weird because they're there and Dabney Coleman is talking about his horse that is going to be racing.
Oh, right.
And that horse crosses in front of them, and then John Candy mutters it. And it's so weird. It is really strange. It's not very loud, but it is clearly there.
It.
I was like, you don't need that in this movie.
No.
Yeah. But you're onto something much more fun. So,
Well,
the florist. Okay.
So they meet. They see each other where? At the stall? Is that where he sees her, or at the horse?
Like at the racetrack.
Yeah. Horse race place.
Yeah.
He's so smitten with her, Don is, that he decides to call for flowers.
Yes.
To send her. He calls a florist. He calls the Samurai Florist Shop, where an Asian man, hi-ya, picks up the phone.
This is ridiculous.
It's very goofy. I feel like this was a sketch that John Candy maybe once did, right?
Right, yeah. We'll have to comb through his Saturday Night Live years to find if there's something like this in there. The Samurai Florist Shop? Why would this even be a place?
I don't know. But he tries to buy her flowers that are more edible, but the samurai tries to give him advice. He's like, are they delicious? Blah, blah, blah. It's just this funny little... Again, he tries to convince Fred to stay home. Fred has to go to work. He's bored as all get up Don at the house. So this is when he orders a package for himself. The maid answers the door, and these delivery men deliver this giant box. And inside the box is a giant pink blow-up horse.
Is it like a sex doll horse?
I guess
you're
meant to
believe.
I think you are.
Okay,
I think you are. Yeah.
Right.
And it's huge. And the box opens and the whole thing blows up huge. It's very weird.
Again, it doesn't come to anything. We don't see it later.
We don't even see it.
It's
the
not
animals
like Fred
don't
gets
even
home
play
and he's
with
like,
it.
what is it? Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just one little he goes on the balcony because he's all sad and lonely, and he sort of wails outside, and apparently a little French bulldog sees him.
Yep.
And comes and rings the doorbell and kind of wants to hang out. And before we know it, like, where do all these animals come from? There's dogs, there's ducks, there's a pig that comes, there's a...
In an apartment building where there are no pets allowed, they all have easy access.
The pig floors me. So...
Oh, the pig is great. A duck flies in. Like, the duck, I understand, he flies right in from the balcony.
Right. Several dogs are there, some cats, and they are partying. Like you said, the Beastie Boys are playing. the animals are breaking things.
And also, again, this is not John Candy because this horse is so distressed by all of this.
Yeah, he doesn't want them to
He's
be
like,
making
no,
this
don't
mess.
do that. Oh, Fred's not going to like this. Oh, this is such a bad idea. I'm not having fun. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, he's not into this. He doesn't know how to get these animals under control. When Fred does come home, he's obviously upset because his place has been trashed.
Yep.
And although he's trying to figure out ways to get animal control, he brought home a giant bag of oats.
Yeah, just picked him up on his way home.
Yeah, then that's what he says too. And
I mean, you can't keep feeding that horse just tab all the time.
I guess you got to feed him
That cannot be good for that horse.
some horse food, some oats. So he is loving the oats. He is so into the oats that he's not even worried anymore about what, that he might get sent away. And he makes a comment about buying the oats. You're going to buy stock in these oats. They're so good. All the animals will love them. Mm-hmm. And how about this light bulb thing that happened?
10 minutes earlier, we heard the sound of a person kicking an actual bucket.
Yeah,
and now a light bulb just is superimposed over this movie and screws into Bobcat Goldthwait's head.
And lights up.
And then lights up.
Yes. Yep.
It is ridiculous. There are cartoon noises wall to wall throughout this movie.
Yeah. Well, the real heavy cartoon, like Acme cartoon, doesn't happen until when he's kind of scaling the walls of his.
Oh, that was just boing.
Building.
Yeah, there were just boing noises all over the place. I'm like, what is happening? He spins
in the window, and the pigeon is on his head. Okay. So so the light bulb goes off because the Fred has this great idea that he should buy these oats, buy stock in these oats. They're so great.
Also, earlier we were talking about different stocks. At one point, the horse just tells him, I don't know, buy coffee.
Yeah.
Like, coffee. Let's buy all this coffee. And that works somehow. Yeah. And I don't know if the horse was just saying we're out of coffee or if he was telling him what stocks to buy.
But he does. He follows the horses.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he dumps all his money into
everything.
This oat company, whatever.
And they're all kind of curious about it. Like, what is this thing that he's putting all his money in? And they get a hot tip that the oats are contaminated somehow, or
because
poisoned
they call a guy in a steam room for some reason.
That's the guy that was having sex earlier and gave them the first tip. And I don't know why they call him from the. And he does like a fraternity chant into the phone. Oh no!
I love how the guy's like, "Hey, I know a guy who we should call about this oats business." Like, how does he just know an oats guy? And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, this company. A lot of animals are dying. They're being poisoned."
Yeah. So they get the hot tip from the guy in the steam room.
Right.
They know that this is a bad idea. They don't obviously let Fred know. Fred, meanwhile, is in the bathroom talking into his tie, preparing his
as though it's a microphone, and it is because we hear his voice echoing like a microphone.
Maybe it's the acoustics in the bathroom. I don't know.
Maybe.
He gets locked in that bathroom by Walter and Walter's evil sidekick.
Yes. There are weird parts of this movie that I think are supposed to be funny but aren't, because then a guy goes to use the bathroom. They're like, oh, this one's closed. Use this one, which is clearly a ladies' bathroom. Yeah. They leave, and the guy looks and goes, this one? Almost winks at us, the audience, going, this is a ladies' bathroom, right?
Right.
Come on, this is funny.
But it's not. It just dies.
No. Somehow he climbs out the window of the bathroom.
Yeah, that's how he sees his escape.
Goes around, traverses the edge of this building, in Cat's Eye. That's what I kept thinking about. Because he fights with a pigeon
you're right.
And everything.
It's like Cat's Eye.
Yeah.
Well, then he slips, and then the pigeon is messing with his head. And...
His receptionist is yelling about sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah, he's at his window, I guess, to his receptionist's office, and he's like, let me in. And she's like, do you want it on wheat or rye? I can't hear you.
Yeah. And I'm like, we can hear him. We're looking at this from your perspective in the movie, and we can hear him very clearly. And you were asking him, she's like, I brought the tuna fish sandwiches. And finally she opens the window and it swings like a revolving door and throws him in super sped up film.
Oh, yeah.
But he can't sell his stocks in time.
No.
And loses it all. Like he's
Everything.
Totally broke. And then I love how the very next scene is the entire firm toasting that he's gone.
Oh, I know.
It's everybody that works there. It's like, yay! That weird creep is out of here.
Yep. But they're all toasting, I think, on their side of the conference table. They hitchhike, the pair of the horse, because, of course, he's going to lose the apartment. So they go hitchhiking. Yeah. And
there's no scene where he loses the apartment, where he gets thrown out. Like, there's no...
No.
Why is there
There's
no
a
scene?
small scene then where all of a sudden he lives in a trailer park, right?
Oh, that's great. Because that felt very natural. I was like, oh, yeah, Bobcat Goldthwait in a trailer park. This should be a movie. Yes.
This is where we're talking about, yeah.
But the reason they get him at the trailer park is because Virginia Madsen quits, and the horse...
Oh, right.
The horse who was picked up while the two were hitchhiking, a semi stops and picks up the horse and not Bobcat Goldthwait.
Right.
And I guess the horse told the semi to turn around and drive him back to the office? Because he's in the parking garage waiting for Virginia Madsen.
Right.
And he talks to her, and then the two of them are in that camper, and they drive to the trailer park where Bobcat Goldthwait is just making burgers on a grill.
Oh, yeah, he offers him a hamburger. He's like, do you want a human burger?
Right. And I don't understand that because I'm like, he's not eating horse burgers, is he?
Well, but sometimes they put horse in burgers, I guess.
Do that? Jamie, do they do that?
I think they do.
Oh, man.
Yeah, watch where you get your burgers.
Also, Jamie, this movie made me think, and not to go off on a tangent here, but you are a vegetarian.
I am.
All it would take for everybody to become a vegetarian is for animals to talk, right? Right?
I think.
Like, you couldn't slaughter a cow if it talked to you.
If it was like, hey, man, what are you trying to do? Yeah.
Like, people wouldn't even hunt, right? People wouldn't go out in the woods if you're about to shoot a deer.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're about to shoot a deer, it's like, hey, how's it going? Like, you couldn't do that, right?
I would hope not. I would hope it doesn't up the ante. Like, oh, I shot the talking deer.
I shot the talking deer. And the person would be like, they all talk.
Yeah.
All the animals talk now. You can't shoot anything.
Not to go off on a tangent, he says.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. That would be...
I think it would be an interesting kind of human experiment. Could they?
I would like to believe that people would not eat animals anymore if they spoke.
Well, Jeffrey Dahmer eats people.
So you're saying we're all just Jeffrey Dahmers?
No, I'd
like to think that's an extenuating circumstance. Jamie, your straw man argument isn't working.
My point was, I don't know that everyone would not. Some people might think it would be exotic to eat. Like I said, I'm eating the talking, salmon. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're right, because there'd still be the psychos, like those people that go out and like, kill giraffes and stuff like that. Like, those people are...
Like the psychos.
Right?
See, but now isn't that unusual that some animals, even though they don't talk, you think of them as too cute to eat. Like, you wouldn't want to eat a giraffe.
Completely, yes. That is... I've often talked to you about the fact that I could probably go vegetarian. I don't eat that much meat. I eat a lot of fish. That would be tough.
Okay.
So I'd be...
So you'd be a pescatarian?
I don't know how we pronounce that.
You'd be into Joe Pesci movies and eating fish. That's what that is.
All right. I think that's a weird tangent we just went on. But anyway, don't eat animals if they talk to you, people.
Yeah. It's just creepy if they're talking.
Because if you do, you're basically Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's that sidebar in a nutshell.
Right.
Oh. All right. So, where the heck are we in this?
Well, sorry. When Don was with Virginia Madsen, he laid out this whole plan that...
Oh, to win the race.
Right, that he was going to just enter himself as though it's like a sack race at a company picnic where you just like do a sign-up sheet to just like run in a race. You can't, Jamie, you can't just show up at a track with a horse and be like, we can race, right? That's cool. You can't do that. But the horse's idea is to run in this race, to win it, and then Donald or Fred will have all the money he needs.
Right.
And, you know, Don will be super famous and get with this lady horse and everything will be great.
Yeah. No one's considering that Don's not trained and there's no jockey to ride Don. No one's thinking about those logistics.
Well, no, they consider it because they say that and Don's like, no. Just let me take care of that. Don't worry. It's fine.
Yeah. Because it's, they got to go follow through. Oh, this is the chicken shit battle.
There's so much chicken shit in this scene. I think everybody says chicken shit at least once.
How do you feel when you're called a chicken shit?
Dabney Coleman says it about 7 times. And it's all because of a bet, right? He bets, he's like, well, if I win, what are you going to give me? And they bet for each other's horses. But Dabney Coleman puts all his horses on the line. Right. He's like, you could have all my horses. Right. And my favorite part of this movie, and probably only the second time I laughed out loud in this is when Bobcat Goldthwait is like, I don't have anything to put up as a bet. He's like, Dabney Coleman goes, you can bet that turd, and points to his horse. And Bobcat Goldthwait's reaction is, I can't bet my horse. I really did laugh. I thought that was great.
It was pretty great, by the way, and you're getting better with your Bobcat impressions.
Yeah. This might be the only chance we get to do this. Jamie.
I know. Yeah. Oh, they have to audition jockeys now. This is a weird bit of nonsense here. When they go through, so they do some jockey interviews. One guy kind of passes out, right?
He's drunk. One guy's drunk.
One guy injects the horses with drugs, with needles. He's like, I'll tell you how I get him to go fast. The other one, another one is Don decides to do the interviews. So they put a bag over Don's face and...
This literally is... I wasn't entertained when I watched it, but thinking back on this scene...
So they put a bag over Don's mouth, but Fred is trying to do... He's just really moving his lips like saying, beep-a-papa, boop-a-papa, beep-a-papa, while Don's asking real questions. And the guy they're interviewing is kind of insane also.
He's
and really
psycho.
Likes to whip the horses. Yeah. And he's aggressive and wants to whip the horses, and Don, feeling brave, is like, oh yeah, like, I'll whip you, or like is kind of getting mouthy with the guy. And you can see that Fred's like, I didn't mean that. But he continues to talk as Don as well. And Don, anyway.
I just love how he's mouthing this, but not mouthing along with, not even close. Like, he just won't open his mouth and you just hear a voice. And then he's just mouthing nothing half the time. Oh, it was pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. So they can't find a jockey because none of these interviews obviously went well. And Don's kind of having a little panic attack about the fact that how is he really going to run this race? Is he cut out to do this? Mm-hmm. And that's when his father comes back to visit him as a reincarnated horsefly.
It looks like something in Naked Lunch. Like, it looks like a monster, like a weird Cronenberg creation. It's terrifying in a movie that should not be as... I don't know. It shouldn't be here. I have a problem with this horsefly.
The horsefly. You don't like the horsefly. You don't think it's kind of unique that the dad kind of got his wings and now he's a horsefly? See how that was maybe fun?
Whatever. Sure.
Okay. Well, the dad gives him a little moving speech about, you have something that they don't have. You have a big mouth and you're going to win because of your mouth. And he does use that advice later on when he's in the race.
He does.
He kind of hyperventilates. The Virginia Madsen's kind of blowing into a paper bag and telling him to take deep breaths. The horse, mind you.
You can see her kind of smiling during the scene. Like, I can only imagine how funny this actually is to her. Like, she couldn't keep it together. Like, she's supposed to be giving this horse a pep talk. And I only imagine, like, there's this hose next to the horse's face that's blowing air in and out of this bag. It's pretty funny because you can see her kind of lose it, like a bad SNL sketch at this scene.
Yeah. Fred decides to be the jockey, right?
Yes. And again, like we said, he's not that much taller than the other jockeys, but he's a whole lot heavier than the other jockeys.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know, even in the scenes where it's clearly not him riding this horse and they have a real jockey, of course, somebody who can professionally ride this because it's a long shot. Like, the person on it isn't riding like the other jockeys. Their legs are still, like, flapping out to the side as they ride. I thought that was pretty good to sort of keep this looking as bizarre as possible, even when clearly a professional is riding the horse.
How many horses were there? Were there 8? 9?
I don't know. I don't know. And this horse has a plan. The plan is to talk shit to, I guess, all the other horses or tell them jokes.
He's going to distract them any way he can with his power of voice, right?
Like, how does he hypnotize that horse to go to sleep?
He not only hypnotizes the horse, he hypnotizes the jockey too. They're both asleep. So this is when they're in the start-in gate, right? They're ready for the race. Right before this, Fred mounts the horse backwards and gives some rousing speech about being a Wolverine that's going to attack his stepdad or something. I'm the Wolverine. I'm going to come back and get you. And I don't know.
Yep, this is when he forgets his name. It's a pretty great speech.
Mm-hmm. It's very inspirational. So then, they're getting ready for the race. And he does you're getting sleepy. Mm-hmm. And both the horse and the jockey, like I said, fall asleep. And now as the race begins, I think he gets a couple of guys
he
to
tells
go down
the
from
one
jokes.
horse that immigration is waiting for him at the finish line, and the horse just runs away.
They
the horse
run
is
away,
like, no habla inglés. And he's like, immigration. And then the horse just takes off.
Yeah, they go away. That's what they all do. Bad jokes, they go away.
Tells a couple of them that the glue factory. People from the glue factory are waiting at the finish line. It is the unrealistic thing, let's say, about this is he has to run well enough to catch these horses to then distract them with bad jokes, which means he's super fast. Like, he's really fast.
Because he could keep up with them.
Yes.
Right?
It's not like he just puts all the horses to sleep at the beginning.
No.
He runs this entire race and has to catch each and every horse.
Yeah, he keeps up with enough of them, or all of them enough to somehow get each of them to fade out, right? And he does, though, with all of this running, it's not easy, and he's starting to lose it. He tells Fred, like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And Fred starts telling him, think about your family.
Yep.
Do it for them. Finally, what really pushes him over the edge is he says, if we win this race, we'll get you some new teeth. You'll have teeth like a TV anchor person.
Yep.
We'll get them all fixed up. And that's the final motivation he needs. He does try to kind of do some shit talking to the other lead horse. But the other lead horse isn't having it. He's like, nope, I'm into this race. Yeah. The race is tight. Photo finish. And Don wins literally by his teeth.
These teeth in this photo finish are teeth that we have not seen in this movie. Like, these teeth are coming out of his mouth straight at like a 90-degree
They're Dabney Coleman's
angle.
Teeth. Let's be honest.
Exactly. Dabney Coleman's ridiculous teeth that he cannot speak with in his mouth in this movie that we did not see on this horse are the teeth jutting out that helps him win this race.
Yeah, that's true. So he wins. Everyone's pretty much happy.
Yeah. Walter's like, hey, you're not going to make me pay up on that bet. And Bobcat Goldthwait is like, I think I will.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Gilbert Gottfried shows up.
Yep, and he's inside dog's
Oh,
mouth.
Look at that terrifying shot from inside
Yep.
a horse's
Yep.
mouth.
With a big old tongue
With
hanging out.
Gilbert Gottfried yelling at us.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks to Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert Gottfried freaks out, and the end of the movie.
Hot to trot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I knew we were gonna do it at some point.
You felt it, yeah.
Yeah, I knew
Were
it
you
was
glad
coming.
we did? Were you glad we did?
Yes and no.
Okay.
In a way, I'm kind of glad that I saw it. I've been thinking about this movie for a while. Like, it's always kind of been there, rattling around in my head as this thing I had seen when I was a kid. And I've heard people talk about how terrible it is. And I didn't remember a moment of this. I have to tell you, there is
Not any of
no line, there's no scene, there's nothing that I remembered about this. It's not good. It is not good. I would not recommend that people watch this movie. Like,
No?
if you've just listened to us talk about it, you're good. You're good. It's okay.
That's enough.
If you want to look at pictures of Dabney Coleman's teeth online, you can find them. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what gets you going. I didn't like it, no.
No.
What about you?
Didn't like it. Well, I thought it was fun to watch again, having enjoyed it so much as the first summer of my youth. I enjoyed watching it again. I don't know that I need to watch it again,
Okay.
but I
You
liked
don't think so?
yeah. But I liked watching it again. But I don't know. With that, I don't know that I would recommend it or watch it again. But I enjoyed it.
All right.
I hope that makes sense.
Well, then let me ask you this follow-up question.
Sure.
What would you recommend?
I was trying to think of a movie where somebody has like a relationship with an inanimate object of some kind, or something imaginary, and a movie that I loved.
I know what you're going to say.
You do, don't you?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Drop Dead Fred.
Of course.
Yeah. I really like that movie. I really like Phoebe Cates.
Is that really from the 90s?
91. Yeah.
Oh, man. So there's no chance of us doing that.
No,
what
that's
about
why.
Princess Caribou? What year is that
I
from?
think that's 80s. I think it does make it into our...
All right. So that's still there.
I thought about it.
That's still with Natty Gann as your possible like birthday treats. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And you, what's your recommendation?
My movie recommendation is a movie from 2012 directed by Mr. Bob Goldthwait.
Oh.
And it's called God Bless America.
Yeah.
It's a movie. Have you seen it?
No, I've heard of it, though.
Oh, okay. So it's about a man, Joel Murray, one of the lesser known Murray brothers. He learns that he's dying, and he decides to go and sort of kill people that are deserving of that. Like reality TV stars and just rude people in general. And he sort of teams up with this high school girl who falls in with him kind of by accident, but she's like totally into this. And so he decides to go kill people as he himself dies. It's super fun. It's super crazy. Like the opening scene, I'll just describe the opening scene. So if this is something that you're not into, you don't even bother checking it out. But he's in his apartment. He's so angry because his neighbors are so loud. They have, it's a husband and a wife and their kid, and the kid's crying and they're fighting. And he has this fantasy where he walks in with a shotgun and he kills the two parents, picks up the baby, throws it in the air,
and
then
shoots it in the air?
shoots the baby
Like a little duck.
And confetti rains down on him.
Goodness.
So if that sounds like something that's fun,
then go
check
for
it out. But it's really good. And Mr. Robert Goldthwait has made great movies. He made a movie called Shakes the Clown, which is great too. So maybe not the best actor, but his second coming or second birth in Hollywood, it's pretty good.
It's well worth it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it.
All right, Jamie. Here we go. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, everybody. If people don't know, we do have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/goodtimesgreatmovies. So if you're just hearing this for the first time because you subscribe to Screaming Pods Network and we just showed up in your feed and you decide to give us a chance, I'm sure you're just eager to run out and give us money. But on there, we have a tier where people can recommend movies to us.
That's correct.
And force us to watch movies.
Yeah. Yeah, they
So
do.
we're going to do one of those movies next time. This movie was recommended to us by Michelle, and it is called Midnight Madness from 1980. This is a movie that I've heard about for a while, and I've always heard, like, it's so crazy, it's so stupid, it's so fun, you need to see it. I've never seen it. And I have to tell you, the other patron we have at that same level, we did Cobra for Zeke a while back.
Right.
This was going to be his choice for this year.
Oh, this is like a win-win for Zeke,
yes,
then.
like, it's crazy because I literally got this from Michelle. She's like, I finally decided what I want to do. I want to do Midnight Madness. And it wasn't a few days later before Zeke reached out and he's like, I know it's early, but I'd like to lock this in for it. And I was like, dude, someone already picked this.
Yeah.
So that the fact that two people wanted this so badly, I'm very excited to watch this. I
don't know it, so I'm excited.
I don't really know what it's about. It seems like a mad world sort of thing where people are competing and racing to get something, to go somewhere, to do something. It's a competition.
Well, it's not racing like Tron racing, is it?
As far as I know, it is not.
Okay, good.
There are very few things like Tron. I think there's Tron and then Tron Legacy. And I think that's it.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to be...
Just checking.
I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't be frightened, but it's not Tron frightening.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, there we go. That's what's coming.
That's what's coming in 2 weeks. Everybody find Midnight Madness wherever you would find a movie from
Wherever
1980. Watch it. Tune in 2 weeks. And, I don't know, find us on Facebook, Twitter. We're at GTGMcast. And that's it. That's all we got, right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, you know what we didn't mention?
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
We didn't say why. I think we said it at the end of our last recording, but we didn't say why we chose Hot to Trot. Why we doing it?
If you are right, because if you are listening to this on the day of its release, it is the anniversary of the sad, tragic passing of John Candy.
I know.
Boy, you just really wanted to, you were like, hey, let's bum them all out.
I just wanted to make sure that we made note of that because we didn't recommend, neither one of us had John Candy recommendations. You would have rather seen John Candy
as the human,
kind of be the leading human man and not the leading horse. So even though this was an homage to John Candy, we really, we didn't kind of give him his moment to be John Candy.
Wouldn't you like to see John Candy try and traverse the outside of a building?
I told you I wouldn't necessarily. Well, you do see him do that in Who's Harry Crumb, another favorite movie of mine of John Candy's. There you have it.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Goodbye. I'm gonna say. Hold on. I'm gonna say it like this. Goodbye, everybody. Have yourself a great night. You wake up like this.
I couldn't bet my horse.
I can't even picture her. I don't know.
You weren't a Designing Women fan, as I
was
was
not. Sorry. I mean, I know I could picture her in
Who's Harry Crumb?
Who's Harry Crumb, but not in Designing Women. She is a redhead.
All right.
She's not the same redhead in Dumb and Dumber. No.
No, that's Lauren Holly from Picket Fences. another TV show around the same time as Designing Women that I guess I watched a lot.
I guess you did.
And then there's the show Sisters. Did you ever watch Sisters?
No, what was Sisters? You're a little bit weird for watching this.
I know.